A beautiful knight is causing a scene at the guild, desperately searching for a mysterious mage in a black robe. But the receptionist insists no such person exists, leaving the knight feeling like she's losing her mind. Little do they know, the man she's looking for is standing right there. The guild is buzzing with rumors of a powerhouse mage who crushed a monster just for fun and vanished into thin air. Even the members of Chalkblade are mentioned as the ones he saved. Meanwhile, the hooded man listens in, pretending to be just as curious as everyone else. The thought of the beautiful knights offering a special kind of gratitude for being saved is too much for Turi to handle. He can't help but let out a laugh, sparking intense jealousy from the other men in the room. The truth is out, or at least, it is in Turi's head. He is the mysterious mage, and he's absolutely loving the thrill of being a secret celebrity. But his smug face gives him away, and the other adventurers are quick to call him out. Turi's dream was always to be the secret hero, the ordinary guy with an extraordinary secret. For 25 years he lived a safe, unremarkable life, lacking the confidence to be more, until one split second where instinct took over and he threw himself in front of a speeding truck to save a child. One moment he's saving a life, and the next everything goes white. Turi wakes up in the afterlife, greeted by a surprisingly casual entity who claims to be something like a god. The reality hits hard. Turi is dead. But before he can even process his own demise, his only concern is the child he saved. Once God confirms the kid is perfectly safe, the panic finally subsides. With the kid safe, Turi's true colors emerge. He laments not being able to play the cool, anonymous savior in his old world while sipping a beer. God finds his obsession hilarious, but surprisingly, agrees that the secret hero fantasy is a top-tier dream. It turns out Turi did the impossible. He rewrote fate itself to save that child. Impressed by this feat, God offers him a reward, a chance to have his cute little wish granted. The ultimate offer is on the table, reincarnation. Turi accepts, and in a flash, he's transported from the void to a lush, unknown forest. Higashiyama Turi, age 25, has officially started his new life in another world. He starts by taking stock of the parting gifts from God, and he's already impressed. From a cool new outfit and healing potions to textbooks that grant him instant literacy and world knowledge, he's basically been handed a survival cheat sheet. Then come the random special abilities. While he's thrilled to have a decent talent for swordsmanship, the second one is a total disaster. The system literally labels his elemental magic as trash, and he finds out exactly why when he's blinded by his own clumsy spell. But the third ability is a game-changer, dimensional magic, rated as ultimate. Though it's supposed to be an ancient, impossible art, he finds it ridiculously simple. With one expand spell, he turns a regular backpack into a bottomless storage void. He's not stopping there. Next up is teleportation. He discovers he can blink to any location he can see, effectively turning the entire landscape into his personal playground. He's absolutely loving this sudden power trip. One teleport later, he finds himself overlooking a breathtaking vista. With floating islands, cascading waterfalls, and a colossal tree dominating the horizon, he's finally seeing the fantasy world of his dreams. He's completely floored by the beauty of his new home. Looking out over the wild landscape, he realizes that with these broken abilities, he can finally live his life exactly as he pleases. A plan forms in his head. He doesn't want to be a typical hero, but an enigmatic, mysterious mage who shocks everyone from the shadows. Hyped and ready, he decides his first move is to find a town and gather information. But as he scans the area, he spots something. In the distance, locals are being hunted by a massive lizard. While most would be terrified, he sees this as the perfect tutorial event to test his new powers. The situation on the ground is dire. A monstrous lizard has ambushed a party of adventurers, and they're barely holding on. They only survived the initial underground strike thanks to detection magic, but now they're trapped. Tension peaks as the party clashes. The leader desperately orders a retreat, but her comrade refuses to leave her behind, sparking a heated argument in the middle of a death match. They're outmatched, divided, and running out of time. A fierce determination ignites as the blonde warrior lets out a blood-curdling scream. With a predatory grin, she declares her intent. She will hunt this monster down. She lunges with everything she's got, but the impact is brutal. Sent flying backward, she grits her teeth, admitting that while she expected the challenge, this monster is on a whole different level of tough. Desperation leads to a daring plan. She's going straight for the eyes. As her companion, Aisha, screams her name in terror, the warrior throws herself into one final risky assault. Boom! A massive explosion sends the warrior crashing back, leaving her broken. Aisha watches in horror, the realization hitting her that they are completely outmatched. But she refuses to just give up. Bleeding and beaten, the warrior begs Aisha to run and save herself. But Aisha can't just leave her behind. Despite her own injuries, a spark of resolve ignites. She's getting everyone out of here alive. Standing tall against the odds, Aisha reveals her true identity as a noble of House Garden and the leader of Chalkblade. She's ready to give her life if it means protecting her friends. Then, the air turns heavy as the monster begins gathering mana. Aisha's heart sinks. It's preparing a dragon breath attack. Even in the face of certain death, she screams her defiance, refusing to let the beast touch her friends. Just as the devastating blast is unleashed, a single word echoes: isolation. In an instant, a mysterious force erupts, violently shoving the monster back and shielding Aisha from the fire. Out of nowhere, a hooded stranger steps into the fray with a casual air. He admits that having her die here would be a bit of a hassle, leaving Aisha completely stunned. Who are you? Aisha's mind is racing. How could one person possibly block a dragon breath attack? While she struggles to process the miracle, the mysterious man wonders if his entrance was a bit too plain, teasingly offering to explain his trick. A sudden, violent strike cuts through the monster in a flash. While the blonde knight screams a desperate warning, the hooded man is more annoyed that his perfect scene was interrupted before delivering the finishing blow. Sever. With a single, effortless motion, the beast is cleaved completely in half. The hooded man doesn't even break a sweat, coldly reminding the overgrown lizard to know its place and not to mess with his style. Total silence falls over the forest as the dust settles. The blonde knight can only stare in absolute shock, her mind racing as she asks the one question that hangs heavy in the air. Who on earth is this man? While one girl feels a strange, nostalgic pull from his mana, the blonde knight tries to express her gratitude and uncover his identity. But he brushes it off with a cool demeanor, handing her a potion instead. The knight is practically vibrating with excitement. He just gave her a high-value health potion. Overwhelmed by his generosity, she desperately asks how she can ever repay him, but he just plays it cool. He plays the humble hero, telling her that her bravery was the real key to victory. It's the perfect line, leaving the knight completely smitten and deeply moved before she rushes back to her friends. The moment she's gone, the mask slips. Inside, he's absolutely screaming with joy. This is exactly the mysterious powerhouse fantasy he's always wanted. He's officially living his dream. After a quick teleport to make his exit, his plan works perfectly. In the local tavern, the rumors are already exploding. Everyone is talking about the mysterious Mage, who soloed a dragon that even the legendary Chalkblade couldn't handle. Turi is floating on cloud 9 as he officially registers as a rookie adventurer, but his mood crashes instantly when the receptionist reveals the truth. The whole country is going wild, and search parties are being deployed to hunt down the mysterious Mage. The shock hits him like a truck. That giant lizard was actually a legendary dragon. Now, instead of being a whispered legend, he's a high-priority target. Panicking, he asks about the Chalkblade party, and the receptionist is all too happy to spill the details. Meet the heavy hitters of the group. First, there's Lilitan the Mighty Spear, a former mercenary, possessing monstrous strength, and Marine the Witch, an archmage capable of wielding 3 different elements. The party's versatility doesn't stop there. They have Ween the Fire Fairy, the witch's apprentice and the youngest member of the crew, alongside Saran the Beast Hunter, a master of covert operations and scouting. This isn't just any party. This is Chalkblade, the strongest group in the entire country of Grey Isle. Led by the genius swordsman Aisha Garden, the Slicing Princess, they are legends among adventurers. Turi can only stare in a cold sweat, completely blindsided by who he actually rescued. Turi's brain practically shuts down as the reality hits him. He wanted a few rumors to make him look cool, but saving the absolute pinnacle of the country's power is a whole other scale of attention. He's terrified. How did his mysterious hero fantasy blow up this much? While Turi is internally spiraling into despair, he forces a fake smile to keep his cover, leaving his companion wondering why he looked so pale. Meanwhile, the members of Chalkblade are already on the move, determined to track down the mysterious mage who saved them. Aisha is absolutely driven, vowing to find him no matter what means are necessary. Of course, Lilitan can't help but tease her, asking if she plans to spend a night with him as a thank you, sending Aisha into a blushing panic. The gravity of the situation sinks in at the guild. Zabris, the guild master, explains that dragons are the most dangerous monsters in his existence, usually requiring a full team of 6-star adventurers just to stand a chance. Yet, this unknown wizard took one down entirely on his own. Aisha swears on her name that the story is true, leaving Zabris deeply unsettled. He realizes that if this mage is an ally, it's a blessing, but if he's an enemy, it's a national emergency. Despite the mystery, Aisha can't shake the feeling that the man wasn't a bad person, but the story shifts gears. 2 weeks later, we find ourselves deep within the treacherous forest of no return. Clad in his hooded gear, Turi looks far more confident now. With goblins and rampage fangs surrounding him, he sees the perfect opportunity. It's time for the dimensional mage Turi to finally put his skills to the test. The monster's charged with lethal intent, but Turi doesn't even flinch. With a smirk and a single command, he activates his power, Isolation. In an instant, the beasts are slammed into invisible walls, trapped and helpless. Turi watches with satisfaction, noting that the speed and range of his barriers are looking absolutely perfect. Then, the mood shifts from control to carnage. With a cold sever, the space itself is sliced, shredding the monsters into pieces as Turi casually thanks them for being his practice partners. As the dust settles, Turi admits to himself that his ability is a total cheat. But he's not getting complacent. To become the strongest, he knows that raw talent isn't enough. He needs to master the coordinates of his magic. Turi returns to the town of Boris, hauling a massive boar carcass on his shoulder. He heads straight to the guild, where the receptionist, Elise, greets him and begins confirming his quest kills. With his reward in hand, Turi reflects on his first 2 weeks in this new world. He's been keeping it simple with guild quests, hoping to enjoy a worry-free life without drawing too much attention to himself. Elise is stunned to see he's already reached 2-star rank so quickly, but the other adventurers aren't impressed. Instead, they start mocking him, laughing at the old man adventurer who's just a rookie. The insults get personal, with the younger adventurers calling him a grandpa just for being 25. Turi brushes it off with a smile, while Elise defends him, claiming the others are just insecure about a newcomer overtaking them. But then Elise mentions the Rampage Fang, noting that even 3-star adventurers struggle with one. Turi's heart sinks. He only hunted it for the money. But he realizes he might have just stood out way too much. Pure panic sets in as Turi realizes how close he came to blowing his cover. He tries to play it cool, but his sudden internal crisis leaves Elise completely baffled by his strange behavior. Marine eyes the old rookie with deep suspicion, wondering if he's actually the mysterious mage everyone is talking about. Meanwhile, Turi looks absolutely panicked, standing right next to a poster searching for a hooded man who looks suspiciously like him. Turi tries to keep a low profile, but a pushy merchant corners him with a high-purity magic lamp. He's tempted since he can use fire magic, but just as he's about to bite, a sharp voice cuts in to stop him. The girl reveals the lamp is actually low-quality junk filled with impurities, leaving the merchant stuttering in shock. Confused, Turi asks who she is, and she gives a simple, blunt answer. She's a wizard. After saving him from the scam, the two introduce themselves as Turi and Marine. Turi feels like he's heard her name before, but he brushes it off and offers to treat her to a meal as a thank you. Marine doesn't want a full meal. She wants snacks. But once they arrive at the bakery, Turi's wallet is in danger when she points to the shelves and demands all of these. Turi tries to negotiate for half the amount, but Marine isn't having it. She launches into a passionate, detailed manifesto about the crunch and luxurious fruit fillings of fried snacks, leaving Turi to realize she's just a snack-obsessed fanatic. The feast is over in a flash. Turi watches in horror as Marine devours the entire mountain of snacks in seconds, leaving him to sigh about how many more quests he'll have to take just to pay for her appetite. While Turi worries that Marine is so naive she'd follow a stranger for candy, she turns the conversation to his gear. She's puzzled. Why is a swordsman like him even interested in buying magic tools? Marine gives him a quick lesson on the difference between mana and magic, using a cooking analogy. Turi casually mentions that he can use magic too, though he claims to be terrible at it, leaving Marine completely stunned by the sheer scale of his mana. Intrigued, Marine asks him to channel his mana into a black Hierocaine crystal. Turi hesitantly tries it, and the moment he does, the gem erupts in a blinding, powerful glow that leaves Marine questioning just how amazing his magic really is. Marine drops a bombshell. She's talking about someone powerful enough to take down an earth dragon. Turi freezes, the air suddenly thick with tension as he realizes exactly who she's referring to. He tries to play it cool, but his voice betrays him as he asks if she's talking about the rescue of Chalkblade. Pure panic sets in. Turi's mind is racing. How could a girl like her possibly know? He desperately tries to deflect, claiming he'd rather be a swordsman, while Marine explains the mystery of the attribute stone. When she reveals that her own 3-attribute power is rare, Turi realizes just how carelessly he's handled his own secret. In a desperate bid to hide his true nature, Turi claims he can use 4 attributes, hoping that sounds plausible. Marine is genuinely impressed, revealing that most people only ever master one. As she lists her own impressive elements, Turi can't help but admire her, even as he continues to walk a tightrope with his lies. To avoid looking too suspicious, Turi tries to downplay his talent by showing off some pathetic, trashy magic. But Marine isn't buying it, and the mood shifts as she reveals a hidden vulnerability. For her, magic isn't just a skill, it's the only thing she has, and the one thing she refuses to lose at. The moment of tension is broken when Marine suddenly declares her need for more snacks and vanishes. But the peace is short-lived. Two arrogant adventurers swoop in, mocking Turi as a rookie, and questioning why someone like Marine would even bother spending time with him. The insults keep flying, with the bullies calling Turi shameless and an oddball. Marine returns, munching on her snacks, seemingly oblivious to the toxicity. But the conversation takes a darker turn when the guys start expressing their disappointment in Marine for taking pity on a loser like Turi. They don't stop there. They start mocking Marine herself, calling her an oddball who has nothing but magic. Marine is visibly shaken, but before the bullies can laugh any further, Turi's patience snaps. He steps in with a cold warning. It's time for them to shut their mouths. Turi doesn't care what they think of him, but he draws a hard line here. His gaze turns sharp and piercing as he delivers a crushing blow. He won't stand for anyone mocking those who work earnestly and hard. Marine looks at him with wide, surprised eyes, seeing a side of Turi she's never seen before. The bullies, outraged by the rookie's defiance, threaten him with violence, but Turi just stares them down, calmly asking what exactly they think will happen. Before the fight can even start, Marine steps in with a terrifying aura, turning the tables on the bullies until they flee in absolute terror. Once they're gone, Turi gives her a sincere, warm smile, telling her she's an amazing person. The tough mage is completely defeated, not by magic, but by a compliment that leaves her blushing and speechless. Turi is caught off guard by a compliment about his hard work, but inside he's haunted by the ghost of his past life. He remembers a version of himself that always made excuses and never strove for greatness. Now he's determined to leave that lazy man behind. Then, Turi lets a compliment slip, calling her special and enchanting. The air instantly freezes as he descends into a total panic, desperately trying to explain he only meant her personality. But her reaction is unexpected. She only accepts praise from those she considers superior. For a second, it seems she's actually touched, but the mood flips in a heartbeat. With a deadpan expression, she drops a brutal truth bomb. His magic is absolute trash. Turi is left reeling, completely pissed off by her cold honesty. After a brief, awkward exchange and the handing over of a mysterious Hirokane item, they finally trade names. He introduces himself as Turi, the 2-star rookie. While she admits a surprising flaw, she's terrible with names. Just as things settle, she drops a cryptic line, admitting she's curious about someone. Turi's brain practically shuts down. Is he the one she's talking about? Paranoia kicks in. Does she suspect he's the legendary mysterious mage, or did he just win her over with snacks? To clear his head and his debts, Turi heads straight to the guild to find some work. Turi's wallet is screaming for mercy, but his luck is even worse. The guild is out of 2-star quests because the same bullies from before snatched them all just to spite him. He's left wondering why he's such a target. The only option left is a dangerous kobold nest investigation, but it's a suicide mission for a solo 2-star. Just as Turi settles for a lowly 1-star quest, a familiar voice cuts through the air. Marine is here, and she's claiming the quest for both of them. Recovered from her fight with an earth dragon, Marine claims she just needs a warm-up. Turi is suspicious. Is this a genuine offer, or is she still trying to unmask his secret identity? The mystery is solved in the most ridiculous way possible. She just wants to be paid in snacks. Turi breathes a sigh of relief, realizing she's just a snack-obsessed maniac. But the receptionist's shocked reaction reveals that Marine-san is far more famous than he realized. Wait, she's who? The reveal hits like a truck. This girl isn't just some adventurer. She's a 6-star archmage from the legendary party Chalkblade, known as the Witch. Turi's heart practically stops as he realizes the very people hunting him are now right in his face. Over a casual meal, they plan their next move, a quest to scout a monster's nest, but the mood shifts when she offers to stay by his side, leaving Turi completely flustered and nervous. She flashes a confident peace sign, reminding him that she's still a top-tier mage. While she's feeling proud, Turi is having a full-blown internal crisis. Spending a whole day with the person chasing him is a total nightmare. Finally back at his home base, Turi is greeted by the most wholesome sight possible. Little Lip-chan rushes to welcome him back, her pure energy instantly melting away the stress of the day. Enter Goliath, the imposing manager of the inn Tranquility. Despite his terrifying looks, he's a total softie for his daughter, especially when Lipchan proudly brags about helping with dinner. The mood is pure comedy as Goliath dotes on Lipchan with hearts in his eyes. But the second Turi mentions how cute she is, dad mode activates. Goliath snaps, warning him to never ever dream of calling him father-in-law. Tucked away outside the city of Boris, the rundown inn Tranquility is the perfect hideout for someone wanting to avoid the spotlight. Turi keeps things friendly, handing over some rare Rampage Fang meat as a gift to the manager. Goliath's tough exterior cracks as he thanks Turi for bringing a smile back to Lip's face. Turi tries to be humble, but that only makes the overprotective father more suspicious of his sweet talk. Dawn breaks, and Turi is already grinding, swinging his sword with everything he's got. When Goliath praises his dedication, Turi plays it cool, claiming he only has medium talent to keep his true power hidden. Then comes the bombshell. Goliath mentions a rumor about a mysterious mage who outclassed the witch herself. Turi freezes in horror. His first day mistake has become town gossip, and if Marine finds out, he's absolutely doomed. Wait, why is she suddenly mad at me? Marine is fuming over a rumor that she cried and admitted defeat, but the tension snaps instantly when she reveals her price for forgiveness, luxury snacks. Turi breathes a sigh of relief, realizing he's dealing with a total snack fanatic. Then, Marine reveals a skill that leaves Turi speechless, a water barrier. He's never even heard of such a thing, but she casually explains that no monster in the area can break through it. I'm more amazing, right? Marine asks with a smirk. Turi plays along, but internally he's comparing her to his own isolation dimensional magic. He knows his God-given cheat ability is on another level, yet he can't help but wonder just how strong a 6-star adventurer really is. Looking at her, it's hard to believe she's a 6-star archmage. She looks like just another cute, childish girl. But just as Turi is processing this, a terrifying growl rips through the air. He freezes. Is there a monster nearby? Not quite. The monster is actually Marine's stomach. Turi panics and immediately offers to get her food, earning him the title of Meanie from the hungry mage. The two eventually settle down to camp for the night. Turi worries about eating snacks while on duty, but Marine quickly shuts him down with a lecture on high-nutrition adventurer rations. Just as Turi admits his naivety, the mood shifts back to the mystery of the mysterious mage. Turi asks why the Chalkblade party is so desperate to find the mage, wondering if it's just to say thanks. Marine's expression turns serious. Someone with power comparable to a legendary hero is far too dangerous to leave roaming free. Turi's ego absolutely skyrockets. Being compared to a legendary hero, he's feeling himself. But then reality hits. If he's caught, his dream of being a mysterious, enigmatic mage is over. He realizes he's basically hanging out with the one person trying to unmask him. Turi tries to play it cool, telling Marine she'd better find the guy. But Marine has a personal grudge. She wants to make the mage pay for spreading rumors that he's stronger than her. Turi's brain practically shuts down. He wasn't even the one who said that. Then, Marine drops a bombshell. The mage's mana felt weirdly nostalgic. Turi is completely lost, and even Marine can't explain the feeling. The only way to solve the mystery is to actually meet him. The tension is high as the blonde adventurer declares her obsession with finding a mysterious mage, while Turi is internally screaming for her to just drop the subject. But the mood shifts instantly as they arrive at the kobold nest, where one wrong move could be fatal. They huddle in the brush, discussing the monster's raw strength and their deadly sense of smell. Just when they think they've mastered the art of stealth, a cinnamon-scented disaster strikes. Marine admits she packed apple pie, and the scent has practically invited the monsters to dinner. Turi absolutely loses it, screaming in panic as their cover is blown by a snack. Marine tries to step in with a water spell, but instead of a victory, she takes a clumsy dive into the dirt. Turi can't believe the strongest adventurer is this much of a klutz, but with no other choice, he draws his sword and charges in to save her. Turi strikes with lethal precision, taking down the first kobold in a flash. But the victory is short-lived. These creatures are faster than they look, and they're already surrounding him. Wait, it was a feint. Turi's attack misses as the monster lures him into a trap, and Marine screams a warning just as a second enemy lunges from his blind spot. He's caught completely off guard, realizing too late that he's been played. He manages to fight back, hacking down another monster with a roar of frustration. He's bruised and breathless, but as he looks around, he thinks he's finally seen the last of them. One more kill, and he'll be in the clear. Talk about a nightmare scenario. A whole army of kobolds pours out of the cave, leaving Turi completely overwhelmed. Unable to use his secret dimensional magic without revealing himself, he stares death in the face, certain that this is the end. Suddenly, a massive water prison slams down, trapping the entire pack in an instant. Turi is left staring in shock. This is the terrifying gap in power between him and a 6-star adventurer. Marine apologizes for the mess, but Turi is too stunned to even be mad. But Marine isn't finished. She summons a monstrous, swirling sphere of water that defies all logic, leaving Turi wide-eyed with terror. He can only watch in awe as she prepares her ultimate move, the giant water bomb. One word, one release, and total annihilation. With a casual shoot, Marine unleashes a tidal wave of destruction that wipes the entire nest off the map. As the dust settles, she offers a simple apology to a completely shell-shocked Turi. Marine is absolutely riding the high of victory. Even though she admits the quest went completely off script, she doesn't care. She's just thrilled that she managed to take everyone out, while the man in armor is left reeling in shock. Unable to comprehend the sheer power he just witnessed, Marine has already moved on. Her only priority now? Heading back to devour some snacks. Over tea, Marine admits she finds Turi surprisingly interesting. This sparks a dangerous curiosity in her companion, who begins to wonder if this rookie adventurer is actually linked to the mysterious mage they've been tracking. Turi reflects on his dream of being a low-profile powerhouse who just enjoys drinks and rumors. After a disastrous first day where he stood out way too much, he's determined to finally get that drink and be far more careful with his secret identity. Panic sets in when Turi realizes the one person he needs to avoid is tailing him. He tries to convince himself that his dimensional magic and voice disguise were foolproof, deciding to just act natural and hope she doesn't suspect a thing. Turi tries to be polite, but Marine isn't having any of his formalities, snapping at him to drop the sand. Then, after a little bribery with snacks, she suddenly decides to tag along on his next request, leaving him completely bewildered. Turi's reputation is hitting rock bottom, as the town gossips assume he's just manipulating Marine. He's terrified she'll uncover his secret, but since she's his first real friend in this world, he can't bring himself to push her away. The air suddenly turns electric when Marine leans in with a bombshell of a question. "Do you want to do some bad stuff with me?" Turi freezes in shock, and the secret observer spying from the shadows is absolutely floored. Marine doubles down with an offer so suggestive, it sends Turi's brain into a total meltdown. Meanwhile, the spy is in full panic mode, convinced that Marine is about to make a catastrophic mistake. The tension snaps instantly. The bad stuff was just a ridiculously sugary dessert called the calorie bomb. Turi is relieved, the spy is questioning her own sanity, and the two end up sharing a mountain of sweets at a cafe. The peace is about to be shattered. Sauron, the vice leader of Chalkblade, has finally returned. Turi is relieved to hear she's recovered from the dragon fight, hoping that with the party back together, things will finally calm down for him. But as the group reunites, Marine drops a bombshell that makes Turi's heart skip a beat. She's actually sad. She won't get to spend as much time with him. The tension shifts instantly as she asks for a bite of his sweets, leading to a surprisingly intimate moment of sharing. Just as things get sweet and Marine tries to feed him, a whirlwind of chaos crashes the party. A tiny, angry girl in a witch's hat screams for her master to get away from the beast immediately. Enter Ween, the fire fairy, and she is not having it. She's convinced Turi is just using Marine, leading to a loud, chaotic confrontation where Turi can barely get a word in. Turi recognizes her as Marine's crazy disciple, and realizes he needs to get rid of her fast. With one blatant lie about an emergency meeting, he manages to trick Ween into escorting herself and Marine away. With the noise gone, Turi plays the sympathy card, claiming he'll be lonely. Marine's response is classic, leaving Turi wondering if she's actually being sincere, or if her forced tone is just meant to hurt him. But the dream of being a mysterious hidden powerhouse is slipping away. With high-profile people clinging to him, Turi realizes he has to deal with the situation soon if he ever wants to play the role of the secret mage again. Just as he's planning his next move, a mountain of a man with a massive sword blocks his path. He knows Turi's name, calling him the old rookie, and he doesn't look like he's here for a friendly chat. Suddenly, the air turns heavy. The stranger unleashes a crushing wave of mana that shatters the pavement, admitting that since a certain someone is interested in Turi, he can finally go all out without worrying about killing him. The man lunges in for a devastating introduction, moving with blinding speed. But the attack doesn't go as planned. One look at Turi's diction, and the predator is suddenly the one left completely bewildered. Just as things get tense, a new player enters the fray. With a cool demeanor, she introduces herself as Aisha Garden, the leader of the renowned Chalkblade party, and she's not letting anyone touch the man behind her. When questioned why she's protecting a complete stranger, Aisha doesn't even blink. Her gaze is sharp and her voice is steady, asking if a reason is even necessary to save someone in need. Wait, did she even swing? The attacker is left completely bewildered, only to realize his clothes have been sliced clean off, exposing his chest in the most embarrassing way possible. Aisha just gives a casual excuse me as she sheathes her blade. The humiliation is too much. The defeated man screams in terror and bolts, admitting he's no match for the legendary chalk blade. Meanwhile, Turi can only stare in shock, while Aisha wonders aloud if her clothing adjustment was a bit too improper for a lady. With the danger gone, Turi introduces himself and thanks his savior. Aisha recognizes the name, mentioning her teammate Marine, but Turi immediately goes into panic mode, insisting his presence here was a pure coincidence. A lie so obvious it's almost painful. But then Aisha gets a closer look, and a flicker of recognition crosses her face. Turi, terrified of being exposed, makes a clumsy excuse and practically sprints away, leaving Aisha laughing and promising they'll definitely meet again. Left alone with his thoughts, the adrenaline fades into a crushing sense of inadequacy. Turi can't stop thinking about how cool Aisha was, and it hits him hard. Despite his cheat powers, he's been saved time and time again. He's starting to realize just how dangerous this world really is. The realization stings. I'm so lame, he admits to himself, the weight of his own helplessness sinking in. But as he walks back, that frustration starts to turn into something else. A spark of genuine determination. It's time for a comeback, fueled by a desire to finally be independent and get back to his drinks. Tori storms into the guild with a bold declaration. He's taking the 3-star promotion exam. The guild staff can hardly believe their ears. But there's a catch. The 3-star exam isn't about raw power. It's an escort quest that requires a party. For a solo player like Turi, this is a total nightmare. Now he's faced with a choice. Find another loner or swallow his pride and join a group. Turi tries to find a partner for his promotion quest, but the guild is a nightmare. Every adventurer he asks mocks him, calling him a bastard and telling him to go cry elsewhere. He tries to convince himself they're just jealous of his bond with Marine. But as he stands there clueless, a mysterious voice offers him a way out. Why not come with them? And then they appear. A group of stunning, high-powered women stride in, radiating an aura of absolute strength that stops the room cold. With a casual heya, they've just turned Turi's desperate situation on its head. Turi's brain practically shuts down. He can't believe his luck, or his misfortune, wondering why he always gets tangled up with these women. But while Turi is panicking, a darker scene unfolds elsewhere, where a ruthless man named Ekans is coldly berating a subordinate for failing a simple investigation. The subordinate begs for another chance, promising to be useful, but Ekans has no room for failure. In one swift, brutal motion, he executes the man without a second thought. To Ekans, he's not a person, just trash that needs to be cleaned up. Ekans isn't done. He orders his man, Arrow, to spread more vicious rumors about the old rookie to ensure Turi is completely isolated. Arrow obeys, noting Ekans' love for tormenting the weak, while secretly wondering how a guy like Turi managed to attract so many beautiful women. A sinister plan is in motion. Ekans views Tori as the perfect sacrifice, a pawn he can use to finally get his hands on those beauties. The stakes just skyrocketed. Can Tori keep his identity as the mysterious mage a secret while a predator closes in? Enter Elise, the daughter of the House of Boris, who is currently on the run and hiding her identity. The party jumps into action, swearing to protect her with their lives. Turi just stands there, completely overwhelmed by the sudden intensity of the situation. Wait, it was all a setup. Elise reveals that this isn't a real rescue mission but a promotion exam. The goal: escort the VIP from Boris to Tolki. The twist? Elise is actually the examiner, and Turi is now under her thumb for the next 4 days of travel. As they prepare to move, the party leader tells Tori to relax and treat them as support. Tori is a nervous wreck, wondering if she actually trusts him, or if she's onto his secret. Trying to regain control, he begins organizing the formation, appointing himself as the commander and fighter. Turi gets tactical, assigning Ween to the rear and the androphobic Saran to scout ahead via written notes. With Aisha as the coachman, he maps out the safest path, choosing the western plains over the monster-infested mountains. The mission is set, but the real danger is still lurking in the shadows. Turi is feeling the heat, convinced the women around him are judging him just like his old bosses at the company. But the reality is the opposite. They're actually impressed by his professionalism. Even as he's bullied into giving out snacks, the praise keeps coming, leaving him completely bewildered. It turns out Turi's corporate grind actually paid off, earning him some serious respect for his social skills. But the mood shifts when a girl apologizes for the bad rumors circulating about him because of their closeness. Turi's selfless response, worrying about her reputation instead, hits her like a truck. The romantic tension is immediately shattered by a jealous companion who refuses to let the sweet-talking continue. During the chaos, a new concept is introduced, mana sense. Turi's ignorance of the basics shocks the group, but it opens a door for more one-on-one time with the blonde girl. Enter Liliton, the powerhouse who effortlessly shuts down the drama. She takes an interest in Turi, sensing a hidden strength that defies his modest 2-star swordsman rank. Turi tries to play it down, but Liliton trusts her instincts, and her instincts are never wrong. Liliton doesn't do subtle. She practically pounces on Turi, admitting her weakness for strong men and dropping a bombshell invitation for a private night together. Turi's brain practically shuts down from the sudden proximity and the suggestive offer. The battle for Turi's attention begins. The first girl quickly stakes her claim, reminding Turi of their plans to study magic. While she denies being angry, her jealousy is written all over her face, leaving Turi caught in the middle of a brewing storm. Lunch break arrives, but the lessons don't stop. An armored woman introduces Turi to cloaking, a technique that uses mana to boost physical strength. For a rookie, it's a game changer, and the secret lies entirely in the user's mana capacity. A light bulb goes off in Turi's head as he connects the dots to a previous encounter. Seizing the moment, the woman offers to personally train him. Turi is eager to learn, though he can't help but wonder why she's suddenly being so helpful. But first, there's a catch. Before the lesson begins, she demands a spar to read his abilities. Turi is confused until she explains the philosophy of the sword. That true understanding comes through combat. Suddenly, Turi is completely enamored with the warrior's way. The sidelines are chaotic, with some girls cheering for Turi's defeat and others worrying about the exam. Despite the overwhelming power gap, Turi steels himself. He's put in the work, and now he's determined to land at least one hit on his formidable opponent. The tension snaps instantly as the signal is given. Ready, start! In a blur of steel, Aisha lunges forward, her strike so overwhelming that Turi is sent reeling back. He can barely keep up as the sheer force of her attack leaves him breathless and stunned. Aisha doesn't let up, her voice cutting through Turi's panic as she mocks his lack of focus. "You let your guard down even though you knew I was holding a sword?" she asks with a confident smirk. She tells him she trusts him, but the trust comes with a command. Fix his stance or get crushed. Turi is spiraling, convinced that landing even a single hit on this monster of a woman is an impossible dream. He's practically shaking in his boots, feeling completely outclassed. Aisha notices his despair and simply tells him not to worry. They have plenty of potions to patch him up afterward. From the sidelines, the other girls are ruthless, calling Turi a weakling whose spirit is already broken. Turi hears them and sinks further into self-loathing, tempted to just surrender and end the misery. But then Marine speaks up, her voice firm and unwavering. Turi is not weak. Those words spark something explosive inside Turi. Suddenly, a massive surge of mana erupts from him, shocking everyone, especially Aisha, who can't believe the power she's sensing. Running away without giving it my all would just be lame, wouldn't it? He roars, his eyes burning with a new determination. In a flash of blinding speed, Turi strikes back. The clash is deafening, and before Aisha can even react, her defense is shattered. With one decisive blow, her sword is sent flying, and the unbeatable warrior is slammed hard into the dirt. Silence falls over the field as the spectators lose their minds. Turi actually landed a hit on Aisha. Turi himself is just as confused, wondering if he accidentally used cloaking to pull off the miracle. Aisha is left in total disbelief that he managed to use such a high-level technique without even realizing it. Now that the dust has settled, Turi's modesty vanishes, replaced by a smug grin. He credits his victory to Marine's encouragement, but his real motivation is far more childish. He immediately demands a bomb, a ridiculously expensive monster sweet, as his reward. Aisha is left dazed, her heart racing as she realizes she actually let her guard down for him. But the romantic tension is cut short when the other girls scream in alarm. It turns out the intensity of the clash caused a wardrobe malfunction. Aisha's chest latch has completely snapped. Total chaos ensues as Aisha turns bright red, alternating between murderous rage and extreme embarrassment. Turi is a stuttering mess, but the spar is officially over since his practice sword is in pieces. Just as he thinks he's safe, Aisha reveals she has a real sword ready, and Turi realizes he might have just signed his own death warrant. The group decides to call it a day and throw a party, but Turi's attempt to play the protective role goes horribly wrong. By calling Elise lovely, he accidentally triggers a wave of shock and suspicion from the girls. Now he's frantically trying to explain that they were the ones who started the joke in the first place. But Aisha isn't buying it. With a dangerous smirk, she corners him, questioning if he's actually just playing along with the exam. She brings up a certain accident during their spar, accusing him of having ulterior motives. Turi can only scream in panic. He's realized too late that she's holding a massive grudge. Left to brood by the campfire, Turi wonders why she's so furious. He tries to spin the situation, thinking that being hated might actually help his mysterious mage persona by keeping him distant from the Chalkblade party. But his peace is shattered by a sudden noise, leaving him terrified that bandits or monsters are attacking. Tori rushes to the rescue, only to stumble right into the middle of the girl's bath. While he desperately tries to explain that he thought they were under attack, the mood shifts instantly. One of the girls looks at him with a knowing, playful gaze, asking if he just came to take a look. Smack! A sudden slap sends Tori reeling as he's branded a pervert. After a moment of blank acceptance, he tries a risky move, shifting the blame onto Aisha for her reaction when he groped her. The result? An explosion of rage from Aisha, who screams that he should never have done it. The argument spirals into chaos, with Turi claiming it would be a crime to leave such beauty unfondled. Amidst the madness, another girl casually asks Turi if he wants to try her instead, leaving him completely deadpan. But the comedy is cut short when an arrow message slams into a nearby tree, reminding him that Saran is missing. The message is a simple note from Saran, saying she'll bathe alone, a mundane use of a magical messenger that leaves Turi baffled. However, the real dread sets in when Saran herself appears, demanding a little talk after his training with Marine. As night falls, Turi sits in terrified silence, convinced his final hours have arrived. Despite the fear, Turi can't help but notice how stunning Saran is up close. He's caught staring, leading to a clumsy panic when she asks if there's something on her face. But the tension breaks when Saran's expression softens, and she begins to apologize for her harsh words and for calling him an old rookie. In a shocking turn, Saran bows her head in genuine regret. She admits that she actually never thought he was a bad person, and that she has a keen eye for character. As the air clears, she reveals a surprising observation. Marine seems to be having the time of her life whenever she's talking to him. Saran finally reveals the truth. As the vice leader of Chalkblade, her coldness was part of her duty to protect her comrades. She was investigating Turi to ensure Marine's safety regardless of how it made her look. Seeing her unwavering devotion, Turi finally understands why her team respects her so deeply. The air is thick with apology as Saran explains that her harsh actions were actually meant to protect Turi from being ostracized. Turi is left bewildered, asking how that works, only to be shut down with a sharp warning not to get the wrong idea. Just as the tension eases, the mood flips instantly. With a terrifying smile, she declares she'll never forgive him for peeking at her naked body, leaving Turi in a state of absolute panic as he desperately tries to insist it was an accident. While the girls sleep soundly in their tent, Tori takes advantage of his night shift to dive into his studies. Armed with a book on dimensional magic and the mana sensing technique he learned from Marine, he prepares to test his limits. Detection. With a single word, a massive wave of magical energy erupts, mapping out everything in the vicinity. Turi is breathless. The level of detail is staggering, allowing him to see every hidden thing in the forest. He realizes this spell is an overpowered upgrade to mana sensing, but the victory is short-lived. A wave of guilt hits him as he realizes he just accidentally spied on the girls. But his panic is cut short when he detects a group of monsters closing in. A cold look enters Turi's eyes as he recalls his history with kobolds. He doesn't care if these specific ones are innocent. He's looking for revenge, and they're about to become the perfect practice dummies for his new cloaking ability. One strike is all it takes. Turi is shocked to find that cloaking allows him to slice through bone with almost no effort. But as he admires his power, he notices the kobolds are smarter than he remembers, coordinating a pincer attack to trap him. To Turi, their strategy is nothing more than a fool's errand. He tears through them with ease, but just as he's dominating the fight, one of the monsters does the unthinkable. It turns tail and runs for its life. They might be fast, but cloaking has turned Turi into a predator. He closes the gap in a flash, effortlessly taking down the remaining beasts and reflecting on how much of a struggle this used to be. Pure, unadulterated narcissism. Turi is absolutely loving how cool he feels, only lamenting that there's no one around to witness his greatness. But the moment is interrupted when he realizes a whole new swarm of enemies has arrived, and he couldn't be happier to fight them. Turi is in total panic as a massive horde of monsters surrounds him. He's desperate, wondering if he should use his sever magic, but the risk to the nearby party is too high. Just as things look bleak, A mysterious voice cuts through the tension, asking why he didn't invite them. Enter the heavy hitters. The legendary party, Chalkblade, makes their grand appearance with total confidence. They aren't just here to help, they're here to join the party. And then the slaughter begins. With one devastating strike, the blonde leader tears through the monster ranks like they're nothing. She's actually enjoying herself, thrilled to have the whole squad back together. While the carnage continues, the hooded member of the group has a different priority. She's annoyed that there's no booze at this party. But her mood doesn't stop her from unleashing a massive giant water bomb on the enemy. Not to be outdone, another member jumps in, offering to make some drinks later while raining down a devastating fire cannon. The monsters don't even have time to scream before they're incinerated. It's almost too easy. One of the women actually yawns, claiming the fight is just helping her wake up. Another sighs, complaining that the others are so fired up, she didn't even get a chance to move. Just like that, it's over. Turi can only stare in disbelief at the absolute power of Chalkblade. He never doubted they'd win, but seeing the strongest party in Boris in action is a whole different level of incredible. Once the dust settles, the leader turns her attention to Turi. She scolds him for his recklessness in fighting alone, but her tone softens, because the only thing that truly matters is that he's safe. A moment of genuine connection follows, as she tells him they're friends now and he should rely on them more. Turi, touched by the gesture, finally lets his guard down and accepts their support. But the peace is short-lived, as Turi mentions a strange human-shaped mana presence he sensed earlier. While the leader suspects it's just a passing traveler or a bandit, she warns him to keep reporting anything suspicious. Turi is caught in a whirlwind of awkwardness after a blonde girl teases him about peeking into their tent. While he spirals into a panic, trying to deny everything, an unknown hooded figure watches from the shadows, noting Turi's connection to Chalkblade for a report to someone named Ekon's Sama. Deep in the forest of no return, a massacre has occurred. A party of adventurers, including a seasoned 4-star, is horrified to find powerful army scales sliced apart effortlessly. Just as they reel from the carnage, a mysterious figure tells them to flee, leaving the scene in their wake. Out of nowhere, a masked figure in a black robe descends from the heavens like a savior. The stunned adventurers can only stare, wondering if this weird masked bastard is the legendary figure who took down a dragon and saved Chalkblade. As the adventurers scramble to safety, the mysterious mage stands alone, basking in the aura of the rumors he's carefully cultivating. He's already saved 3 people this week, but as he looks at his gear, he realizes there's one thing they're completely missing. Turi is having a full-blown crisis over his fashion choices. He's convinced his self-made dimensional mask is the peak of heroism, despite the weird comments. After a quick mirror check and some aggressive self-validation, he decides it's cool as fuck and dives back into the fight. Turi arrives at the prestigious garden estate, where he's greeted by Loon, the personal maid of Lady Aisha. While Turi tries to keep it professional as a 3-star adventurer, he's secretly floored by the sheer luxury of a noble household, especially the fact that she has a real-life maid. A reunion with Lady Aisha begins over tea, the air light and friendly. As she congratulates him on his recent promotion, Turi plays it humble, attributing his success to others. But Aisha sees right through it, suspecting that a 4-star rank is already within his reach. Turi's attempt to stay low profile is derailed when Aisha points out his surprisingly casual tone. Panicking, he reveals that Lilitan forced him to drop the formalities, and he nearly reverts to stiff speech out of fear of being too forward. A single comment from Aisha, that she actually likes his casual way of speaking, leaves Turi completely bewildered. He can't help but wonder how he's become so close with people he considers archenemies, but the mood shifts as Aisha brings up the people who despise their relationship. The conversation takes a dark turn as Aisha reveals a plot by other adventurers to hurt Turi, fueled by malicious rumors. She proudly admits she discovered this while spying on him, a talent Turi remembers as the worst tailing experience of his life. But just as he panics, she drops a bombshell. She already knows exactly who the culprit is. Enter Ekans, the Snake King, a 5-star adventurer who's as skilled as he is cruel. Turi is horrified to learn that the guild won't lift a finger against him because they don't act on mere rumors. It looks like Turi has just inherited a very dangerous enemy. Aisha is still obsessed with the mysterious mage, but not in the way Turi hoped. She's absolutely furious that he didn't let her repay her debt. Turi is left sweating in confusion before heading back to the inn, where he's greeted by the cheerful Lipchan. A new face arrives at the inn. Alaun, a friendly 3-star adventurer from a neighboring town. Turi introduces himself, feeling a rare sense of kinship in finding another adventurer of the same rank. While Goliath brags about his dismal customer count, Turi has a heart-stopping moment. He dropped his mask. Luckily, Alaon finds it, and Turi quickly spins a lie about finding it on a quest to keep his secret safe. Alaon is absolutely loving the heroic vibe of the mask, but the kid accompanying him shuts it down instantly, calling it lame. With the awkwardness settled, Turi asks Alaon what brought him to this specific inn. Alaon reveals his goal: making money in the nearby forest of no return. He's nervous about exploring it alone and asks Turi to team up, even worrying that Turi might be mocked for partnering with an old rookie. A rare moment of genuine connection. Alaon's trust in Turi hits him hard, leaving him unexpectedly moved by the kindness. They shake on a deal to explore the forest together in 2 days. Peace is short-lived. Goliath crashes into Turi's room in a total panic, screaming that the witch has arrived. Turi, caught mid-change, realizes the infamous Marine is here to see him. Wait, this is the witch? Turi is completely thrown off by Marine's new look. She's traded her intimidating aura for a cute scholarly outfit. While he's baffled by the change, he can't help but think she actually looks great. Marine invites Turi on a shopping trip for their upcoming journey to the capital, and he can't say no. But as they walk through town, the local adventurers are losing their minds. They can't believe the old rookie managed to land a beauty like her. Walking through town, Marine reveals the truth behind her disguise. She's been hiding her identity to protect Turi from the trouble her reputation as a witch brings. Turi is surprised, realizing why she'd been so distant since the exam, but he quickly reassures her that he doesn't mind the trouble. Then, Marine drops a bombshell that leaves Turi completely stunned. With a soft, honest confession, she admits that he is special to her, the very first friend she's ever truly wanted to hang out with outside of their group. The air grows heavy with tension as Marine asks the one question she's been dreading: can she still spend time with him? Turi plays it cool with a smirk, acting like her request is nonsense, but his eyes tell a different story. Turi doesn't leave her hanging for long, shouting a resounding of course, and declaring that she's special to him too. He tells her she can ditch the disguise next time, leading to a sweet moment of insecurity from Marine and a warm, protective reassurance from Turi. The mood flips instantly to a nightmare. A young woman is held captive, gagged and bound in a cold room, enduring brutal torture, while her captors watch with sadistic indifference. The cruelty is absolute, and the screams are muffled by a wooden gag. Enter the villains. Ikens, the Snake King, receives a report from his subordinate Arrow about Turi's growing strength and his mastery of cloaking. While Ikens acknowledges that Turi might be a threat in a fair fight, he has no intention of playing fair. The twisted plan is revealed: an illegal stampede lantern designed to lure a horde of monsters into the town. Ikens intends to create a disaster on purpose, only to save the day and manufacture a heroic reputation for the snake nest. When Arrow questions the risk, Ikens shuts him down with a terrifying glare. To cover their tracks, they plan to frame a rookie for the crime, and the captive girl is the perfect, disposable scapegoat for their scheme. While Ikens smugly assumes Turi will be dead by the time the plan unfolds, Turi is already one step ahead. Sensing the coming storm, he sees this impending chaos as the perfect stage for the strongest mage to make a truly fantastic appearance. Trouble finds Turi immediately. The snake nest thugs move in to shake him down in the street, leaving his companion trembling in fear. Turi just sighs. Being a magnet for the city's most infamous criminals is just another day in his life. Turi is stunned by a sudden surge of cloaked mana, but Alaon steps up with a confident smirk. Despite being only a 3-star adventurer, Alaon is ready to take charge and dive headfirst into the fray. Boom! Alaon executes a perfect bait and switch, taking a hit to drop the enemy's guard. While Turi tells him to clean the blood off his face, he realizes it's his turn to step in. With a sigh, Turi activates his own cloaking and leaps into action. Back at the guild, Turi introduces his new acquaintance. Alaon wastes no time flashing a winning smile and introducing himself as a 3-star adventurer looking for work. Elise seems impressed, or perhaps just happy for Turi, leaving him completely confused about why she's congratulating him. Elise is practically sobbing with joy that Turi finally has a friend, which only makes Turi more uncomfortable. Alaon tries to play the protective companion, but Turi quickly shuts him down by bringing up his earlier nosebleed. The awkwardness peaks as Elise treats Turi like her own son, driving him to the brink of a meltdown. The conversation shifts to the trouble Turi has been facing, the persistent harassment from the snake nest. Since it's a personal matter, the guild can't officially intervene. Alaon dismisses the attackers as mere lowlives and small fry, suggesting Turi shouldn't even be worried. Turi ponders the motives of a man named Ekans. Why send a few thugs at a time instead of a full-scale attack? Alaun suggests it might be pure underestimation, but Turi is genuinely baffled. He has no money and isn't a threat, so what exactly is the goal of this endless harassment? Just as they're trying to find a logical explanation, Alaun hits them with a wild theory. Maybe the thugs are just interested in Turi in a youthful middle school sort of way. Turi is absolutely horrified by the suggestion, while Elise can't stop giggling at the absurdity of it all. Elise teases Turi, claiming he actually seems to be enjoying the attention, which only fuels his frustration. Alaun eventually steers the group back to reality, reminding them to stay vigilant. As the next day arrives, Turi and Alaun set off together, though Turi is still struggling to keep up with the chaos. The duo is greeted by a burly man and a cheerful little girl named Lip, who has prepared lunch for them. Turi is surprised to learn that Alaun has been acting as Lip's teacher. Before they head out, Alaun asks for a small favor, to pick some Hytalica, rare yellow flowers that don't grow in the city. The request takes a heartbreaking turn when Lip reveals the flowers are for her mother's grave. The burly man explains that he'd do it himself, but he can't leave Lip alone or take her into the dangerous forest. Seeing the little girl's hopeful face, it's impossible for Turi and Alaun to say no. The mood is pure sweetness, as Alaun promises to find the most beautiful flowers for little Lip. With Turi backing him up, the two of them are fully committed to making the girl's day. Lip's overwhelming affection for both of them leaves Turi and Alaun completely flustered. But the heartwarming moment is instantly crushed by Goliath, who screams that there's no way he's giving his daughter away. Alaun asks Goliath for a small favor, to hand over some documents to a visiting friend. Goliath is more than happy to help, and Lip is already jumping at the chance to be the messenger. Turi can't help but wonder if Alaun's fondness for children is a bit unusual. Alaun plays innocent, claiming his affection is simply special, which only prompts Goliath to roar that he's protecting his daughter from him too. Suddenly, the mood shifts from comedy to carnage. With one devastating strike, Alaun obliterates a swarm of monsters, leaving Turi in total shock. Turi realizes that he completely misjudged Alaun's combat ability. Alaun is absolutely buzzing after his solo victory, practically glowing with pride. But the excitement continues as they stumble upon a field of Hytalica sunflowers, the perfect gift for Lip. As they gather the flowers, Alaun shares a tender side of Lip, her struggles with difficult lessons and her infectious joy. It's a bittersweet revelation, as Alaun recalls how malnourished the girl was when they first met. Hearing about Lip's tireless studying and her desire to be useful to her father touches Turi deeply. Together, they decide these flowers are a small but necessary way to bring a smile to the hard-working girl's face. The piece is interrupted by a familiar face. A bandaged man appears, calling Turi old rookie and thanking him for the previous day, though Turi can't believe the guy is still wandering around alone. Wait, it was a trap. In a heartbeat, Turi is surrounded by armed enemies. He realizes he let his guard down, but as he grips his weapon, he decides it doesn't matter how many small fries they throw at him. The tension is electric, as Turi and his companion, Alaun, stand ready for battle. While one of the enemies boasts about their combined star ranks, Turi isn't fooled. He knows that he and Alaun are dangerously outnumbered. But then, the mood crashes instantly. A brute from the enemy ranks reveals a hostage. Lipchan, bound and unconscious. Turi's blood boils as the captor warns him not to do anything rash if he wants the girl to survive. In the chaos, Alaun steps in, urging Turi to stay calm for the girl's sake. He sounds supportive, but there's a chilling edge to his voice that suggests he isn't as concerned as he pretends to be. The mask begins to slip. Alaun's calmness transforms into something predatory, and as he watches Turi's distress, a twisted smile creeps across his face. He isn't trying to help, he's enjoying the show. The betrayal is finally laid bare. Alaun admits that everything was a lie and mocks the trust Turi placed in him. Devastated, Turi realizes that he was played from the very beginning, just as Alaun decides that it's time to reveal his true identity. The truth hits like a hammer. Alaun is actually Arrow, also known as the Silver Snake, the second in command of the Snake Nest. Trapped and outmatched, Turi faces a brutal dilemma. Does he reveal his hidden power now or risk dying here? Arrow gloats over his victory, telling Turi that he should be proud of himself. After all, the Snake Nest doesn't send this many elites, unless the target is truly special. Baffled by Turi's lack of suspicion, Arrow mocks his naivety. He spent so much effort crafting a lie that he can't believe Turi actually fell for it, calling him either hopelessly naive or just plain stupid. Then comes the answer that leaves Arrow speechless. Turi trusted him simply because he thought they could be friends. Disgusted by such purity, Ero demands that Turi at least provide some entertainment with a desperate struggle. No more talking. With a sudden violent burst of speed, Ero launches a devastating attack, turning the betrayal into a fight for survival as the ground shatters beneath them. The clash of steel is deafening, but the black-haired warrior is barely holding on. He's pushed to his limit, realizing with a sinking feeling that standard swordsmanship just isn't going to cut it here. He's completely outnumbered and outclassed. Then comes the cold truth from the man with the sword. He reveals a sinister plot for the snake nest, admitting that Turi was chosen as the perfect scapegoat to be extorted. As the betrayal sinks in, Turi's world shatters. Everything he believed was a lie, even his trust in Alaun. But Ero just laughs it off with a chilling smile. He plays dumb, mocking Turi by asking if Alaun is some imaginary friend. Before Turi can even process the cruel taunt, a brutal strike sends him reeling, leaving only the sound of blood dripping from a blade. Ero is practically yawning, bored by Turi's struggle. He tries to play the victim, claiming he's mad too that his subordinate was too rough with the hostage. The sheer audacity of his lies sends Turi into a blind, screaming rage. The chaos peaks as a terrified young girl, Lip-chan, wakes up in the grip of a brutal brute. She screams for help, her voice cracking with terror, while Turi bellows for her release. But the kidnapper only threatens to put her back to sleep with a heavy hand. Suddenly, the mood shifts. With a flash of violence, Ero strikes his own subordinate, brutally punishing him for disobeying orders. As the brute collapses in a pool of blood, Ero turns back to Turi with a disturbing confession. He really does love children. The mask completely slips, revealing a monster who finds the sight of a child's despair delectable. He casually mentions handing the girl over to someone named Ikan-sama, promising not to touch her until the right moment. Turi has heard enough. He tells the psychopath to shut the hell up. One word changes everything. Teleportation. In a blink, Turi vanishes and reappears, snatching Lip-chan away before Ero can even react. The look of pure confusion on the villain's face is priceless as Turi screams for him to stay away from her. The tension breaks for a moment as Turi holds the trembling girl close, promising her that she's finally safe. Even as she points out that he's bleeding, Turi gives her a reassuring smile. He tells her to stay put while he handles the bad guys. The air explodes with raw power as Turi stands his ground, a shield for the innocent. With a gaze of absolute confidence, he delivers the ultimate warning. The big brother standing here is actually the strongest mage in existence. The enemy is absolutely floored. "Who the hell is this guy?" they scream, terrified by the sheer amount of mana radiating from him. But Turi isn't playing around. With a single word, isolation, he rips the young girl away from her captors, promising her he'll handle everything in a jiffy. Turi's just trying to keep a low profile, but the situation is forcing his hand. He's even considering moving to another country if his secret gets out. But then a dark, cold impulse hits him. Dead men tell no tales. For a second his eyes go void. If they're evil, why not just erase them? The enemy leader is intrigued, unable to wrap his head around Turi's trick. But Turi's patience has run out. He's not here for a magic show. He's here to beat this man black and blue until he can never hurt anyone again. The leader thinks things are finally getting interesting, but Turi has a different word for him. Stupid. And then, the interesting part happens. In a flash of isolation, Turi shreds through the enemy's guards like they're made of paper. The leader is left gaping in pure shock, wondering what just happened. Turi's response? What's so interesting about a completely one-sided fight? Total annihilation in a heartbeat. The leader is spiraling, unable to comprehend a power that can wipe out his entire squad in seconds. Just as he panics, Turi appears right behind him with a chilling question. Do you know what the words home run mean? Time for a lesson in pain. Turi tells him to grit his teeth before delivering a devastating blow that sends the man screaming through the air. As the leader collapses, coughing blood and trembling, Turi looks down at him with cold indifference. So? Are you scared? The mercy is over. Turi's gaze is murderous now, fueled by one simple fact. This bastard made Lip-chan cry. He doesn't just want him defeated, he wants him absolutely broken. Piss your pants, you fucking bastard. The leader is a wreck, convinced Turi has somehow messed with his mind. Meanwhile, Turi is already over it, just wanting to get Lip-chan to safety. But the enemy isn't done yet, desperately trying to save face by calling Turi an old rookie. Turi's only thought? What a pain. Just as the fight seems over, the ground erupts. Massive shards rain down from the sky, catching Turi completely off guard. And standing amidst the chaos is a new threat, looking at the scene with pure disgust. What the hell is this pathetic sight I'm seeing? Enter Ekun-sama, a powerhouse who clearly has zero respect for his subordinates. He berates the failed leader for being useless before turning his attention to Turi. The old rookie has caught his eye, and it looks like the real plan is only just beginning. A deadly face-off begins. Turi finds himself staring down the sinister leader of the Snake Nest, the Snake King, Ekans. The air turns ice cold as Ekans delivers a blunt, terrifying promise. He's going to kill him. Meanwhile, a quiet moment of longing unfolds. A young girl with short hair spends her days staring toward the east, her gaze heavy with unspoken worry. Aisha notices the tension and asks the one question that cuts right through the silence. Is she worried about what is happening in the city of Boris? Aisha sees right through her, teasingly pointing out her desperate urge to reunite with Turi. The girl is shaken, her heart torn between her feelings and the guilt of being a burden to the woman who gave her a home after she lost her memory. But Aisha isn't having any of that guilt. With a warm smile, she reminds her that they're more than just employer and employee, they're family. The dam finally breaks, and the girl admits her deep worry for Turi, begging to return to Boris immediately. Just when she thinks she has to ask, Aisha reveals she's already one step ahead with a carriage waiting. While a certain witch throws a hilarious tantrum about wanting to stay with her master, the bond between the two girls is sealed with a heartfelt thank you. One final warning to stay safe, a solemn promise, and then she's gone. As the carriage rolls away, the stakes skyrocket. The witch with strange powers is racing toward Turi, who is currently fighting for his life all alone. Back in the heat of battle, the confrontation with the main villain reaches a boiling point. Turi tries to understand the motive behind the madness, but Ekans only cares about one thing: eliminating anyone who stands in the way of his twisted ambition. Then Ekans reveals his delusional worldview. To him, strength is meaningless if the idiot masses don't see it. So he's decided to stop playing by the rules and simply craft a fake story to make himself the city's greatest hero. The plan is as cruel as it is calculated. Using a mysterious stampede lantern to trigger a citywide disaster, Ekans intends to frame Turi as the mastermind villain. Turi finally realizes the truth. This monster is the reason his reputation at the guild was dragged through the mud. Turi isn't impressed, calling the plot both selfish and boring. But Ekans doesn't take kindly to being mocked. In a flash, he launches a sword attack from a distance that defies all logic, leaving Turi wondering how he could possibly strike from so far away. A manic villain takes center stage, screaming that he's cast the warrior as the great villain in his own hero story. The black-haired warrior is caught completely off guard, his eyes widening in shock as he realizes the enemy's sword just stretched mid-swing. He can't even get a word out before the blow lands. No way. The warrior's world shatters along with his blade, which breaks despite being reinforced with cloaking. Ekans cackles, mocking him for tasting the strength of an adamantite weapon. As a parting gift for a one-way trip to the underworld, he prepares to finish him off, but the warrior desperately screams one last command: "Isolations!" While a subordinate warns him to be careful, Ekans just laughs off the idea of invisible walls as nonsense. He doesn't stop there, delivering a crushing blow that sends the warrior spitting blood. Just as the situation looks hopeless, a mysterious voice cuts through the air, sounding almost disappointed. The warrior lies broken on the ground, a weakling, in the eyes of the sadistic Ekans. Even as his right-hand man warns that the opponent possesses mysterious powers, Ekans remains arrogant. He looks down at the fallen man with a sneer, wondering how he's still breathing. But Ekans's cruelty doesn't stop with his enemies. In a sudden violent turn, he strikes his own subordinate for being knave. As he surveys the battlefield, he realizes none of his men are actually dead. The warrior had intentionally avoided fatal areas. Ekans is disgusted, calling his own men trash for losing to someone who was holding back. Amidst the carnage, a young girl appears, sobbing hysterically for her brother. Ekans's interest is piqued by the brat, and the subordinate quickly tries to win favor by offering the girl as a twisted tribute. He describes the delectable cries of children in a way that makes the skin crawl, hoping this variation will please his master. Ekans is thrilled by the idea, praising his right-hand man for the gift. But when he tries to grab the girl, he hits a solid invisible barrier. He doesn't care if it's wind magic or something else. He knows that once the warrior is dead, the wall will vanish. The terrified girl trembles, unaware of the nightmare awaiting her. The mask of civility is gone. Ekans leans in with a demonic grin, promising to kill the girl slowly just to hear her scream. But just as the girl is paralyzed with fear, a cold, hateful voice cuts through the silence. "Shut up, you fucking pedophile." The warrior is awake, and he is absolutely livid. Standing tall once more, the warrior's gaze is pure fire. He makes one thing clear: stay the hell away from the girl. Ekans mocks him, claiming the fight was already over, but the warrior isn't finished. With a single word, connect, he launches a desperate high-speed counterattack. Wait, what just happened? In a flash of absolute chaos, a devastating blow rips through the subordinate's back. The right-hand man is left reeling in agony, screaming in confusion as he thinks his own boss just betrayed him. Eakins is just as stunned, staring at the carnage with a look of total bewilderment. The tables have turned, and Eakins is absolutely losing it. Turi just smirks, asking if he can't even handle his own weapon. The secret? Dimensional Magic Connect, a power that creates warp gates to redirect attacks without needing direct contact, and Turi is just getting started. Total chaos ensues as Eakins is blindsided by his own attack erupting from a portal. While Arrow screams in confusion, Turi delivers a cold reality check. He mocks the man who was so calm and collected just moments ago, watching him spiral into a panic. In a desperate bid for survival, Eakins pulls the ultimate heel turn, offering Turi a spot as his right-hand man. He'll even spare the kid. Turi finds the sudden change of heart almost impressive, but as Eakins paints a picture of them becoming heroes together, Turi's patience finally snaps. Too late. With a single decisive strike, Turi cuts through the excuses and the man himself. The reason for this mercilessness? Eakins made a pure soul like Lip-chan cry, and for that there is no forgiveness. The shock is absolute. Eakins' legendary adamantite whip sword, a weapon meant to be unbreakable, is shattered into pieces. Arrow is left trembling, unable to comprehend how a broken sword could possibly destroy such a treasure. Turi remains unfazed, playing the part of the old rookie while Eakins descends into a blind rage. Desperate to make Turi suffer, he screams at Arrow to ignore the plan and activate the Stampede Lantern. The threat is clear: use it or die. Panic leads to a catastrophic mistake. Arrow activates the lantern, dumping a terrifying amount of mana into the device. Even Ekins realizes too late that it's way too much, but the trigger has already been pulled. A blinding red beam of light erupts, striking several targets instantly. Turi is caught off guard by the sudden flash, while Eakins looks on in horror. He didn't expect the lantern to react this way, and the screams of the victims prove it. The cost of the lantern's power is gruesome. In a matter of seconds, Arrow's body withers and ages, his youth stolen by the magic. He reaches out in a desperate plea for help, but the transformation is already complete. The lantern shatters in a final violent burst of light, but the nightmare is only beginning. As the smoke clears, a horde of monstrous beasts, from giant snakes to armored boars, emerges from the void, ready to tear everything apart. A blinding pillar of light erupts into the sky, but it's not a beacon of hope. The spiky-haired man realizes with horror that this light is acting as a dinner bell for every monster in the forest. Meanwhile, the long-haired man just laughs in the face of the impending chaos. The long-haired man revels in the disaster, declaring that it's finally over for everyone, including the entire city of Boris. The spiky-haired man is absolutely livid, screaming in rage as the villain descends into a fit of manic laughter. Far away, Marine spots the ominous glow on the horizon. Panic sets in as she realizes what that light means, and her thoughts immediately race to Turi. Is he caught in the middle of this disaster? The culprit is revealed, the Stampede Lantern, an illegal tool that drives monsters into a mana-fueled frenzy. Turi is pushed to his absolute limit, bleeding and exhausted, wondering how the hell he's supposed to survive this endless wave of beasts. The tables turn instantly. Now it's Ekins who's screaming for mercy as a massive monster looms over him. He's sobbing and offering everything just to survive, but Turi just watches with a cold, judging gaze. With a single word, sever, Turi obliterates the threat, but don't mistake it for kindness. He tells Ekins that death would be too easy. He wants the man to live and suffer for his sins for the rest of his miserable life. Thinking he's found an opening, Ekins lunges for a sneak attack, only to slam face first into an invisible wall. Turi doesn't hold back his contempt, calling him a complete idiot for thinking he could actually pull this off. The lantern's own red light turns on the man who used it. As Eakins screams in absolute terror, Turi delivers the final blow with his words. He would never trust a lowlife like him. With the threat finally gone, Turi looks down at his defeated enemy. But the tension breaks as he reunites with little Lip-chan, apologizing for keeping her waiting. Lip-chan is frantic over Turi's wounds, but he just brushes them off with a smile. He reveals that the snake nest has been completely eradicated, and the cursed lantern is nothing but scrap, finally bringing a peaceful end to the nightmare. Surrounded by a nightmare of monsters, Turi knows he's out of time. With Lip-chan in danger, he decides to use his teleportation magic to take her back to the inn in Boris immediately. He gently asks her to close her eyes, scooping her up just as the chaos reaches a breaking point. A gruesome image of a decayed corpse flashes through his mind, a warning of what happens to those who fail. With a look of absolute determination, Turi focuses his will. One word changes everything. Teleport. In a blink, they're back at the inn, the air finally still. Turi realizes Zleep-chan has completely passed out from the sheer terror of the ordeal. He carefully sets her down, noting her exhaustion with a soft, sympathetic smile. But the relief is short-lived. Turi spots a mysterious carriage and immediately grows suspicious, fearing remnants of the snake nest are nearby. He tries to cast a detection spell to secure the area, but suddenly his strength vanishes. His eyes widen in panic. He's completely drained. Just as he's reeling from the sudden weakness, a blur of motion slams into him. A girl throws herself into a desperate, crushing hug, crying out his name. Turi is left completely stunned. Marine? Pinned down and blushing. Turi struggles to breathe while Marine clings to him. Between the awkwardness, Marine reveals that the old man was attacked by the snake nest, and she's relieved to know Turi was the one who saved him. The tension shifts as Marine realizes she's practically sitting on top of him. When she asks why he put her in such a compromising position, Turi simply tells her it's because she's hurt. A soft silence falls between them as Turi admits he doesn't exactly hate the closeness. The mood turns grave as Marine examines a lantern, identifying it as a stampede lantern. Turi recalls the horror of those who were hit by its light, realizing that if he hadn't used isolation magic, he and Lip-chan would be dead. The danger isn't over. It's just beginning. Turi is horrified to learn the truth. A stampede can wipe out an entire city. Marine describes a past tragedy where walls were shattered and countless lives were lost. While Turi vows to fight to prevent another massacre, the weight of the threat hangs heavy in the air. Marine's voice turns solemn as she begs Turi to promise to run away if things go wrong, but he refuses to leave her side. Then she asks the one question that cuts deep. Why would he risk his life for a city that has done nothing but mock and exclude him? Turi declares his resolve with burning intensity. If someone he cares about loves this city, then he'll risk everything to protect it. The girl responds with a soft, supportive smile, telling him she won't stand in his way. But as they sit together in the quiet aftermath, she leans in with a look that suggests she has one more thing to say. The romantic tension is instantly shattered by a brutal reality check. How can he protect anything when he can't even move? After a moment of awkward, blushing fumbling, Turi's body finally hits its limit. His vision blurs and the world fades to black, leaving the girl panicking as he slips into unconsciousness. Turi jolts awake in an inn, completely disoriented and panicking. A burly, bearded old man reveals that he found Turi and Marine passed out in front of the building and brought them inside. However, the old man's mention that two people were sleeping together leaves Turi wondering exactly what happened while he was out. It turns out Marine spent a fortune on a high-grade potion to heal Turi's wounds before rushing off to the guild. While Turi is plagued by guilt, believing it was his fault that Lip was put in danger, the old man brushes it aside with a sincere thank you for saving his daughter. With the city in a state of total chaos, the old man urges Turi to get to the guild immediately. Turi puts on a brave face, insisting he's stronger than he looks, but outside a nightmare is unfolding as a massive monster stampede crashes against the city walls. Enter Zebras, the guildmaster, and a legendary former 6-star adventurer. He tears through the monster horde with a single devastating strike, leaving the surrounding soldiers in absolute awe of his power. Even as he proves the old man still has plenty of strength left, a flicker of concern crosses his face. The sheer number of monsters begins to overwhelm Zebras, making him fear that the battle might be too much for his aging body. But just as the situation turns dire, a sudden explosive attack clears the field. Zebras is stunned to see a familiar face returning from the capital to lend a hand. It's Marine. The witch has returned, and the soldiers are ecstatic, believing their salvation has arrived. But just as Marine prepares to clean up the mess, a bone-chilling roar echoes through the air, signaling a threat far more terrifying than a simple stampede. The roar belongs to a titan of terror, a massive earth dragon. Even Marine is left speechless, staring up in genuine horror at a creature that simply should not be there. While the city screams in terror, Turi sees only one thing: the perfect opportunity. Now dressed as the masked hero, he welcomes the dragon's arrival with a confident smirk. The stage is finally set for him to save the day and cement his legend, all while keeping his true identity a total secret. Total chaos erupts in the city as a nightmare manifests. A massive earth dragon looms over the terrified crowd. The adventurers are paralyzed with shock, unable to believe such a disaster has been lured right into their streets. Panic spreads like wildfire. Zebras and the other adventurers realize they're completely outmatched, convinced that this is the end for them. But Amidst the screams, a mysterious, hooded figure watches from the sidelines, finding their desperation absolutely amusing. Suddenly, a figure descends from the sky, arms wide in a dramatic entrance. The adventurers are baffled, with some starting to whisper that he might be the legendary savior from the rumors. Hidden behind his mask, Turi is loving every second of the attention. With a single devastating command, sever, the monster is ripped apart in a spray of blood. Turi isn't just here to save the day, he's here to make the flashiest debut possible. In the blink of an eye, the entire monster horde is decimated. The survivors are left speechless, staring at the carnage and wondering who on earth possesses the power to wipe out an army with a single attack. Turi is absolutely buzzing. He spent so long trying to act like a normal person, but now he's finally letting loose. This is his moment, the official debut of the mysterious mage, and he's already imagining the legendary stories people will tell about him over drinks. He strikes a pose so heroically it's almost ridiculous, greeting the crowd with a playful, theatrical flair. He teases the adventurers about their dire situation, fully leaning into his enigmatic powerhouse persona. While Turi is feeling himself, he can practically hear the criticism of his cringe lines and lame mask. He ignores the haters and singles out the famous witch, Marine, greeting her with a confidence that borders on arrogance. Marine is skeptical, questioning if this stranger is actually on their side. Turi plays it cool, claiming he planned to help from the start. Despite the warnings from her teammates, Marine decides to trust her intuition and accept his help. Marine feels a strange certainty that the masked mage isn't a bad person. With the earth dragon still looming over the city, she has no choice but to swallow her pride and ask him for assistance. Turi simply agrees, ready to turn the tide of the battle. Finally, the moment he's been dreaming of since childhood arrives. A man asks the one question Turi has been waiting for: "What is your name?" After years of imagining the perfect, coolest identity, he decides to maintain an air of mystery, but he can't resist the urge to finally make his grand reveal. Just as he's about to drop his legendary name, the mood is shattered by a deafening roar. A giant lizard monster crashes the party with a sudden breath attack, leaving Turi absolutely livid. He's not just fighting for his life, he's fighting because this stupid lizard just ruined his big moment. Turi doesn't miss a beat, instantly trapping the beast in a water prison to protect Marine. But the victory is short-lived when the monster manages to fire its breath attack from inside the sphere. The onlookers are stunned. How can it still attack from within a magical prison? Before the attack can land, Turi snaps his fingers and shouts "Isolation," creating a perfect barrier that shuts the blast down. Marine is left speechless by the sheer precision of his magic. For Turi, this isn't just a fight, it's his time to shine. Now that the danger is managed, Turi's ego takes center stage. He starts scolding the monster like a disappointed director, furious that his introduction was interrupted. In his mind, the lizard is nothing more than a supporting character in the story of Turi's greatness. While the others wonder if they can actually trust this eccentric guy, Marine admits that his magic is undeniably the real deal. Turi mocks the monster's predictable attacks, seeing the lizard's next breath attempt not as a threat, but as the perfect opportunity to show off. With a single command of "Isolation," Turi traps the monster's own breath attack inside its mouth. The result is a catastrophic internal explosion that rips the creature's head apart. The witnesses can only stare in horror. Did he really just make the monster self-destruct? Standing calmly before the mangled remains, Turi offers a cold, mocking apology. He doesn't care about the carnage, he only cares that the beast dared to interrupt him. Marine can only watch in shock as the gap in power becomes terrifyingly clear. But the fight isn't over, and the monster launches a desperate, blindingly fast strike. Marine freezes, realizing she's too slow to dodge the incoming blow. Just as the attack is about to hit, Turi intervenes with a sharp sever, cutting through the chaos in an instant. Stepping in front of Marine with absolute confidence, Turi warns the beast not to dare turn its fangs toward her. With a gaze of pure dominance, he makes his position clear. He is the only opponent this stupid lizard needs to worry about. The air is thick with shock as a young girl stares in disbelief. Before her, a hooded mage stands calmly over the colossal, shattered remains of a fallen earth dragon. The crowd erupts into absolute chaos, cheering for the man who actually managed to defeat the beast. While the adventurers go wild, the hooded mage is internally basking in the glory, satisfied that he stood out in a damn awesome way even if he wishes he'd experimented with more of his dimensional magic. But the celebration is cut short by a sudden, jarring tremor. A massive rocky hand claws its way back from the depths, leaving the onlookers horrified. How can it still be alive after its head was chopped off? As a mysterious red light pulses from the monster's severed neck, the mage's confidence turns to suspicion. He knows the last one died normally, and a chilling realization hits him. Is this the work of that lantern? With a violent explosion of energy, the creature evolves into a terrifying second form. But instead of fear, a smirk crosses the mage's face as he analyzes the situation. He's figured it out, even if it means this battle is far from over.